American Airlines Flight 996, A Descent into Chaos. Introduction. On a seemingly routine flight from Los Angeles to New York City, LAX to New York, American Airlines Flight 996 became the center of an aviation mystery. The Boeing 757-200, carrying 180 passengers and 7 crew members, was scheduled for a standard flight soon turned into a terrifying ordeal. But what began as a standard flight soon turned into a terrifying ordeal. Departure and initial flight. The weather was clear as Flight 996 took off from Los Angeles International Airport. Captain James Walker, a seasoned pilot with over 20 years of experience, and First Officer Emily Carter, known for her precision, were at the helm. After a smooth climb, the aircraft reached its cruising altitude of 3,500 feet. Passengers settled in, unaware of the drama about to unfold. Unusual turbulence? 2 hours into the flight, turbulence rattled the aircraft. Initially dismissed as routine, the turbulence intensified, causing drinks to spill and oxygen masks to dislodge. The captain reassured passengers, attributing it to unexpected weather changes over the Rockies. However, the situation escalated when the aircraft began to lose altitude rapidly. There's mysterious malfunctions. Cockpit alarms blared as the autopilot disengaged. Flight instruments showed conflicting readings, leaving the pilot struggling to regain control. Passengers screamed as the plane lurched side to side. Flight attendants worked to calm the chaos, but the tension was palpable. Communication breakdown. Attempts to contact air traffic control, ATC, were met with static. The pilot switched frequencies, but communication remained unreliable. Meanwhile, the aircraft's navigation systems began to behave erratically, and the GPS signal failed. It was as though the plane had entered a zone of technological interference. Emergency descent. Faced with rapidly decreasing cabin pressure and engine anomalies, Captain Walker initiated an emergency descent. The crew prepared passengers for a potential crash landing. Panic filled the cabin as the plane descended into dense cloud cover over an uninhabited area. Mysterious light. As the plane dropped to 1,000 feet, several passengers reported seeing strange pulsating lights outside their windows. The lights seemed to follow the aircraft, weaving and hovering unnaturally. Some described them as metallic orbs, sparking theories of unidentified flying objects, UFOs. Safe landing in Denver. Despite the challenges, Captain Walker managed to land the aircraft safely at Denver International Airport. Emergency crews surrounded the plane as shaken passengers and crew disembarked. Strangely, upon inspection, no mechanical issues were found, and the recorded data from the flight was incomplete, adding to the mystery. Aftermath. The incident remains unsolved. While aviation experts cite potential weather anomalies or electromagnetic interference, others speculate about extraterrestrial activity. Passengers and crew shared accounts of the mysterious lights, but the FAA and American Airlines have provided no conclusive answers. American Airlines Flight 996, the unsolved mystery in the sky. A routine start. On a crisp autumn morning, American Airlines Flight 996 prepared for its cross-country journey from Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, to New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport, JFK. The Boeing 757-200, a reliable workhorse of the skies, was operating at near full capacity with 180 passengers and 7 crew members on board. The weather was clear, with no signs of major disturbances along the planned flight path. Captain James Walker, a 56-year-old veteran with over 2 decades of flight experience, and First Officer Emily Carter, a meticulous and highly regarded pilot in her mid-30s, performed their pre-flight checks. As passengers settled in, few could have anticipated the harrowing sequence of events that lay ahead. A smooth takeoff. Flight 996 departed LAX at 8:15 a.m., climbing steadily to its cruising altitude of 3,500 feet. The cabin buzzed with the usual activity. Flight attendants serving coffee, passengers reading or watching movies, and children peering out at the endless expanse of sky. The first hour of the flight was uneventful, with the aircraft gliding smoothly over the southwestern United States. The turbulence begins. At approximately 9:45 a.m., just over the Rocky Mountains, the plane encountered turbulence. At first, it was mild, little more than a few bumps that caused passengers to clutch their cups. Captain Walker turned on the seatbelt sign and reassured the passengers over the intercom, citing a patch of rough air. However, the turbulence rapidly escalated. The aircraft began shaking violently, causing drinks to spill, trays to slide off tables, and overhead bins to rattle. Some passengers screamed as oxygen masks dropped, even though cabin pressure remained stable. The cockpit, too, was experiencing the strain. Alarms sounded and the controls became sluggish. Systems go haywire. As the turbulence worsened, the autopilot disengaged without warning. The flight deck lit up with warning signals. The altimeter and airspeed indicators showed conflicting readings, leaving the pilot struggling to ascertain the plane's true position and velocity. The situation was compounded by failures in navigation systems, which began displaying nonsensical data. Check the backup systems, Captain Walker instructed, his voice calm but tense. First Officer Carter quickly toggled the switches, but the backup instruments displayed the same errors. It was as if the aircraft had entered an electromagnetic void, disrupting its systems. Communication breakdown. The crew's attempts to contact Air Traffic Control, ATC, were met with static. Switching to multiple frequencies yielded no results. The pilots then activated the emergency transponder, hoping to broadcast a distress signal. Yet, the usual acknowledgement codes from ATC never came. Meanwhile, the cockpit instruments continued to malfunction sporadically, adding to the growing confusion. Down in the cabin, the atmosphere was chaotic. Flight attendants struggled to calm passengers, some of whom were visibly panicking. Others whispered nervously about whether the aircraft had been struck by lightning or even sabotaged. Emergency descent. Captain Walker made the decision to descend to 10,000 feet, below the flight path of commercial air traffic and within breathable atmospheric levels should pressurization fail. The Boeing 757 nosed downward in a controlled but rapid descent. Passengers clung to their armrests, the cabin filled with cries, and the flight attendants braced themselves in their jump seats. Yet, as the plane descended, new challenges arose. The engines began to fluctuate in power, making it harder to maintain a consistent glide path. The descent through dense cloud cover brought with it an eerie dim light, casting an unnatural glow through the windows. Inch, the mysterious lights. As the plane leveled off at 10,000 feet, passengers and crew alike began noticing strange lights outside. Described as pulsating orbs or metallic spheres, the lights seemed to move with the aircraft, weaving through the clouds in a manner unlike any known aircraft or natural phenomenon. "Captain, are you seeing this?" First Officer Carter asked, pointing to the glowing objects. "I see them," Captain Walker replied grimly. "Keep focused. We'll address it once we're on the ground." Passengers pressed their faces against the windows, some attempting to capture the lights on their phones. However, inexplicably, the lights did not appear in photographs or videos, only adding to the mystery. Landing in Denver. Despite the chaos, the crew maintained their composure. The decision was made to divert to Denver International Airport, D, the nearest major hub with adequate emergency facilities. Captain Walker expertly guided the plane to the runway, battling fluctuating engine power and erratic controls. As the wheels touched down, the passengers erupted into applause, their relief palpable. Emergency vehicles surrounded the aircraft immediately, prepared for any potential fire or structural issues. Yet, upon inspection, the plane appeared undamaged. The investigation begins. Passengers and crew disembarked, shaken but unharmed. Investigators from the FAA, NTSB, and American Airlines began an immediate review of the incident. They found no evidence of mechanical failure, and the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, captured only routine communications, with no record of the alarms or turbulence. Most bafflingly, the flight data recorder, FDR, was incomplete, missing several minutes of critical information during the descent. Reports from passengers and crew about the mysterious lights were met with skepticism, as no radar systems or ground observers detected anything unusual. Theories and speculation. The incident sparked widespread speculation. Aviation experts suggested that electromagnetic interference or a severe weather anomaly could have caused the malfunctions. UFO enthusiasts pointed to the lights as evidence of extraterrestrial activity. Meanwhile, skeptics argued that mass hysteria and misinterpretation of natural phenomena were to blame. American Airlines Flight 996 was eventually cleared for service, and its systems were declared fully operational. Yet, the unanswered questions linger. For those on board, the memory of the ordeal and the enigmatic lights remains etched in their minds, a haunting reminder of how little we truly understand about the skies.